Assalamu Alaikum everyone, welcome back to another video. I hope you're having a wonderful day. So as you know, I like to purchase stocks every single week. My plan is to add £250 a week into the stock market. Last week I didn't do it because I didn't have a lot of time to do the research and find out the companies that were undervalued and so on. I just bought some ETFs last week. That's all I did. And today's video, I'm gonna add to basically 4 different companies, potentially 5, using the money from last week and this week. So I've got just over £500. I added £500. £5 I think came from a dividend from, I think it was ASML or one of the companies. So what I'm going to do is, first I'm going to talk about a few things that that has been on the news, and then we'll move on, of course, to the purchase, and I'll share with you guys. I'll do live buys, so I'll show you exactly what I'm buying, and I'll talk about why I'm buying these companies, because as you know, it's right now it seems the stock market is very, very expensive. Okay, before we get to that, you know, as always, I've asked you guys every single video that I do, genuinely I would appreciate if you join us in the Patreon account, where you get access to the Discord and a lot of other things, all the buys and sales, including, you know, the things like the monthly undervalued stock and so on. So you get a lot out of it. Inshallah, try it out, see if you like it. Now the first thing I want to talk about is this company, AstraZeneca. AstraZeneca has been accused of basically doing some dodgy stuff in China. Now this is a bit worrying. Normally I don't worry about companies, but this is a little bit worrying because I think there's about 13% of their revenue comes from China. Okay, if I'm correct, I think it was 13%. There we go. So 13% of their revenue basically comes from China. So it is really important that basically we figure out what's going on. So right now, basically, the company has been accused basically of doing some dodgy dealings through Hong Kong and so on. And the fact that this company is relying on China a lot, because if you read this here, it says AstraZeneca is banking on growth in China to help reach its target of 80 billion, which is what they said about a year ago, okay, in annual revenue by 2030, up from 48. So almost trying to double, okay, in, you know, 7 years. And a lot of that basically is relying on China. So we'll see what happens. Right now, this guy has been, I think, arrested in China. So apparently something's going on there. The company has come out and kind of defended itself, but I don't have the full story. I don't think anyone does until the Chinese government conclude their investigation. I don't think we will see any resolution for that. The stock right now, if I can find it, was down yesterday and the day before, but today was actually up. So let me just click this. I think today was up about 2% or whatever it was. Yeah, almost about 2%. So we'll see what happens. I'm not really too worried about it. Right now I'm down about 9%. If you think about this, a couple of months ago, I was up, I think, closer to £800, but right now down 400. But that is the problem with investing in individual stocks. And this is why I have been lately saying, and I've said this before, okay, if you are new to the stock market, you're better off, okay, you're better off buying ETFs and hold them for long term. And talking about ETFs, as you can see, I've got 2 pies. And my ETF pies, there's only 2 ETFs in there. I've got over £500, about 9% up right now, and this is my stock portfolio. Okay, that's up about 16% or about £15,000. Okay, so inshallah we'll see what happens with this Chinese crazy situation that's going on. I'm just gonna keep an eye on it. There's a lot of, I'm just reading this article on the Financial Times, and there's basically no one knows what basically is going on. Everyone is saying a lot of things, so it will be interesting to see what the company says in a few weeks or whatever. And for now, what am I going to do? I'm just not buying that. I'm not going to do that until I have a bit more information. If the stock stays the way it is and the news is getting better, then potentially I'll buy more. If the news is getting worse or whatever, then of course I'm gonna have to do what I need to do. Either make a decision to hold it for a very long time, or take a hit and sell it and see what happens. Okay, again, this is the problems with buying individual stocks. And like I said to you, I am not selling this, okay, until I have the full story. Even then I will consider holding on to it, since I really like the company. This is one of the biggest, if not the biggest company in the United Kingdom, on the FTSE 100. The dividend is great. The company has basically amazing products and so on. So with this China situation, we will see what happens. I'm just going to wait and see. Now, talking about the S&P 500 and talking about basically where we are. So just this week, as you know, because of the election in the United States, things have gone up so much, which I'm not complaining about. It's really nice to see our portfolios are in the green. And now a lot of the brothers in the Discord have actually mentioned that the fact that they've gained quite a bit, which is nice. Okay. But it's important for also to think about the bigger picture. Okay, anything can happen. We can see a correction tomorrow and the stocks could go down 10%. Anything can easily, stock market can easily change. But what you really need to do is think about the long-term plan. Okay, for me, it doesn't matter who the United States have elected as their next president. What matters to me is the companies that I invest in, are they still good businesses? Are they still making profit? And can I still actually basically invest and make money out of them? And if that's the case, I'll keep holding on to them. Now, there are some sectors that actually went down quite a bit. Okay, by the way, this is 1 week. Can you imagine look at that, how beautiful that looks? But then again, is a lot of the technology companies, the banks have done well. A lot of the tech and software, consumer staples, some of the consumer discretionaries, healthcare have not done well, and utilities. Oil companies are doing well. Real estate didn't do as well. I'm not sure what's going on with that. But yeah, we'll see. And as soon as the election was over, basically everyone started talking about the next thing, which is the interest rate. So are we cutting the interest rate? What's going to happen? Blah, 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 all of those things. So just ignore all of that. Just focus on your portfolios, focus on the long run. Any of these things can basically change things tomorrow. Yeah, so I'm not really worried about anything. I'm just carrying on buying as usual, business as usual. I have my goals. I have the portfolio you see right in front of you right now is my own portfolio. This is basically, I'm trying to build a generational wealth, and that means basically I'm going to have to be steady Eddie and kind of buy companies, ETFs that I know will be around for a very long time, inshallah. Right, now we're going to get into the buys and sells. The first company I would like to add to is ASML. And as you know, ASML is actually down quite a lot, 25% for the last basically 6 months. It's getting closer to the 52-week lows, which is 640. Right now, $677 per share. And when you look at the earnings expectations moving forward for this company, especially 2025 and after, right? You see amazing growth when it comes to EPS, year-over-year growth of 25%, 26%, 24%, whatever it is. And when you look at it, for example, revenue side of it, you're looking about 16%, 15%, 11%, and so on. Knowing that this company has monopolized their markets, as well as, of course, being the company when it comes to those machines that are needed by basically any of these chips, it's absolutely amazing. If you look at the valuations, if you look at the 5-year PE, okay, if we look at the current PE in comparison to the last 5 years, average wise, you can see a current PE is about 35, and the last 5 years has been 44. So it seems cheap enough right now. And if you look at the Wall Street and what they're saying, you've got 21 strong buys, 8 buys, and 10 holds. And right now it's about 36, let's call it about 37% upside from where we are, which is absolutely amazing. And looking at Morningstar, as you can see, it's got 4 stars right now, 28% discounted. Right now their fair value is $935 per share. The company has a wide economic moat, and of course is probably one of the best companies out there. So what am I doing? I am buying more, like I said to you guys in one of the last videos. Okay, I'm gonna buy half a share. I already own 8 shares, just to quickly show you here. So I own 8 shares, and my current average is $652 or $526 per share, basically. Okay, so to pounds, sorry, that's in pounds. So let's add half a share of this company, and I'm going to continue doing this, inshallah, in the next few weeks. So this week's money goes to this company. The market, I think it is open now. Maybe it's not yet. Okay, we'll find out in a second. I think it might be opening in the next whatever half an hour or so on. So that's the first one. So that you can see we've got 9 shares. Actually, the market is open. So there we go. So 9 shares, 653 or 525 pounds or 63 pence. So that's the first one. The next company that I'm adding to is Canadian National Resources, which is a new company. And now you've seen me do this basically over the last couple of years. Every time I add a new company to the portfolio, they become my main focus. Every single week, I add tiny bit to it until I have a full position once I am comfortable, unless it's gone up too much. Okay, right now I think the company is still basically cheap enough. So we've got 8 strong buys, we've got 5 buys, 10 holds, and as you can see here, 13-14% upside from where we are. And this company being an oil company, I didn't even expect this, but oil companies, of course, they are very cyclical businesses. So this year nothing has happened, we've lost about 13 whatever percent. Next year we're gaining 13%, about 8% after that. Revenue more or less the same. So again, it is very cyclical business. So what I'm going to do now is add bit of Canadian Natural Resources. Okay, by the way, as you can see, I've got 83.2 shares, currently about £27. That's my average, or £35. So what I'm going to do now is buy 1.8 shares just to round it up to 85 shares. Send it to the market. There we go, done. There we go. So that should now change, and that should kind of reflect where we are right now. So £35.50, $35.51. Actually, we're still on pre-market because we are just quite close actually to the opening. So we'll see in the next couple of minutes while we run doing the video, it might actually work. Right, the next part is the ETFs, and I've been doing this in the last couple of weeks, so I'm going to continue doing this every single week. At something at least to the ETFs. I want to build this to at least maybe another 1 or 2 ETFs. I'll be doing more research, inshallah. I'll let you know what I decide. Quite a lot of these ETFs have similar sort of stocks, but I found these 2 here to have basically be probably the best ones that I've seen. So this one more or less tracks the S&P 500. This one has got a lot of the big boys. When I say big boys, it doesn't have the things like the Googles and Metas and so on. This one does. So I think they kind of complement. That's why I've decided to add these 2 together, because I've got an email from a brother. I've replied to him recently. He said, you know, why have you decided just these 2? Why don't you have Halal and so on? Oh, by the way, the market is generally apparently open. The Canadian Natural Resources actually has gone through now, as you can see. But yeah, so he was asking me questions. So the reason, genuinely, there's no other reasons. I've looked at the companies. In fact, I think nowadays you can look at the holdings. Yeah, the other one you can't see, but this one here you can find the holdings here. The other one you have to go to their website. But again, this madness of 26% Microsoft will have to change, because I'm sure they're going to start rebalancing very soon. So but yeah, you can see companies like Tesla's, Exxon's and whatever. All of these companies are part of that. Basically the list of the companies that are in this ETF. And by the way, if you're new to this whole thing, this is the beauty of having an ETF. For example, if AstraZeneca was this part of this one, went down 10% the other day, that would be about 2% of the entire portfolio. Imagine if it was this one, right? But whereas the rest of your companies basically will be absolutely fine. So the ETFs are way better to do. All right, let's get some or invest in. I can't even talk. So we're buying 1.4 shares. So right now, by the way, I only have 1.6 shares. So I'm just going to buy 1.5 shares for now. And then I'm going to continue doing that, inshallah. So I'm just going to send that to the market. Okay, order done. As you can see, that should change automatically here. And that was my range of £56 and 82 is my average for this one. Right, going back here, we're also going to buy some of this as well. So 2.1 again, just to quickly show you, I've got about 18 shares, let's say. So 17.9. So I'm going to round it up to 2.1 shares, inshallah. There we go. That one is done as well. So that is the buys that I wanted to share with you guys today. Again, there's about a little bit of money left on this, and that will probably go to Hershey. I'm just gonna maybe add a little bit more money. I'll let you guys know, inshallah, next week, but potentially I might be adding to Hershey, inshallah, in the next couple of days. Now, one thing I want to say is this is not for me to brag or anything like that. It's just I'm just showing my journey. Okay, I'm sharing my journey, like good or bad, every single week. That's what I'm going to continue doing, inshallah. If you like it, stay with us, join the community. If you don't like it, genuinely No hard feeling. I hope you all the best and do what you need to do, inshallah. For me, it's important that I'm not flashy person. I work really hard. I have so many things going on right now in my life. I've been busy with another project which is making me broke right now, but I will get there, inshallah. I'm pushing myself to invest despite all the other things that are happening around me, which are also investment in the long run. Hence why around this time I used to have about £10,000 left of my ISA. Right now I've got £15,000. I need to raise quite a bit of capital for another project that I'm working on in the next basically 6 months as well, 5 months or so. On top of that, try to max my ISA account. Even if I have to sell a kidney, and I'm only kidding, well, I'm only kidding, okay? I will try to do my best to max my ISA account. That's always been my goal. I've done that last 4 years. I want to continue doing that, inshallah. I'll keep you updated. Stay tuned for the journey, inshallah. If you have not liked the video already, what you waiting for? Join us at the Patreon account. It makes a huge difference for you guys to join us here, because a lot of the software things that I use, these companies I'm using to get a lot of information for us, are not free. None of these things are free. They might hide a lot of this information from you. I share it with you guys for free every single week. So if we can at least to cover some of those costs, that would be absolutely amazing. Have a wonderful day. Assalamu Alaikum.